This video is in 3 parts. Given a previous video I've done, some of you may worry that I'm not a feminist, I'm anti-feminist, but this isn't true. So, I made this video, which comes in 3 parts. And the first part is, I'm very worried that a lot of anti-feminists have the idea in their head that because feminists critique aspects of video games, that they're against all video games, which is not true. So I'm not saying that all anti-feminists are people who were anti-sexism believe this, but I am worried that is a thought that passes through many people's minds. The second part is that, and how feminism can help video games, is that it can help target and get rid of the very immature, sexist elements of video games. And this is important because I, and like tons of other people, really want video games to be seen as a mature art form. And it's very difficult when marketing and aspects of certain games, casual games now more than ever, seem like they're marketed to like 13-year-old boys who just discovered girls. It's very similar to the situation comic books were in when they first came out. They were seen as just for children, as just these kiddie type things that weren't to be taken seriously. The thing is, comic books are an art form as well. So when comics as a mature art form had mature themes, people freaked out because they were like, kids, these comic books are for kids, and these comic books have nudity and drug use and terrorism and there's violence and gore everywhere. Well, it's because those things are being used to tell a very deep and enthralling storyline. And sometimes storylines are not happy. Sometimes stories aren't all ponies, you know. So anyway, graphic novels went through a revolution. Comic books went through the graphic novel revolution, changed the format. Now they're seen as an art. Now people don't freak out that they have mature themes because now people realize, oh, they're graphic novels now, and they are actually an art form. They can be mature, and they actually are mature, and for adults with just kid versions of it. Video games are in a similar state. They really need like some kind of revolution, like graphic novels. Maybe we should rename video games something else, like interactive experience, and help video games be seen as a true art form. Something which should have mature themes and should be for adults, with just some kid-like versions for kids and casual games for kids that they can play as well. And the thing is, feminism can help this process along by targeting the immature sexuality that permeates a lot of video games, while promoting and helping out and praising mature sexuality, such in games such as Mass Effect, Fallout, Dragon Age Origins, and Skyrim even. They do sexuality correctly. And I'm also going to link to Lacey Green's latest video because it's on this topic, and it gets a lot of these ideas out, not specifically about video games, but about sexuality in general, that I highly recommend everyone here watch. And yes, I think feminism could potentially help video games be seen as a more mature and serious art form by targeting the very immature aspects that are in some games, which give the impression that video games are unserious, unartful, just trashy stuff for like 13-year-old boys, rather than being a mature art form for adults that simply just happens to have kid versions. So my third point, is optimism. Feminists can help this also move faster, and that is that sexism in video games and sexist themes are declining. Feminism can help that decline go faster. And an example I want to bring up is Hitman Absolution. It has a very stereotypical like 1970s action flick feel with this two-dimensional male character fighting all these one-dimensional people, and the women are also very one-dimensional. There's just not a whole lot of dimension to it. And the thing is, one of the reasons why this decline is happening isn't just because feminism is helping it along, but also because it just so happens that sexist storylines are bad. More and more people want storylines that have depth, character development. They want their characters to be fully dimensional and in-depth, and you just can't have a male character who's in-depth if he's a patriarchal character, because he's not allowed to express his emotions. The patriarchal view of male is very two-dimensional, and the patriarchal view of female is even less dimensional. It's like one-dimensional. So it just so happens that this patriarchal storytelling is very crappy and just doesn't have the depth of better storylines like Metal Gear. So yeah. So usually when you do see sexism in video games, or patriarchy, or immature sexuality, it's usually just due to laziness, which is an argument made in a channel called Extra Credits, which I will try to link to. I'll also link to my video critiquing Hitman Absolution and how it could have been done better rather than simply lazily copy-pasta-ing old tropes into an assassin game. But anyway, yes, I think feminism can help these things around. It can help these things move faster. Now, the only worry, though, with feminism is that not all feminists are sex plus feminists, the kind of feminists I like. Some of them are sex negative. The only way that feminism could potentially hurt the gaming industry is by they might target immature and mature sexuality to the point to where game developers don't put any sexuality in their games for fear of offending certain anti-sex feminists. Which to me, they're not really feminists. You're not really feminist if you're anti-sex. That's just sort of absurd. And I'll get into that in the comments if you want. But yeah, the only time feminists might hurt is if people are too afraid of offending people to have mature themes. Video games should feel free to have very mature and just disturbing, crazy things in their games. Things that might make you feel horrible, like mass rape, just invading army, raping men and women, and just killing everything. Like, that's a theme that should be allowed in games if it fits the storyline. And I'm worried that our games won't become as mature, and they won't be able to explore certain artistic avenues for fear of offending feminists, the anti-sex kind. They're the kind that are just... They don't want... There's a certain sect of feminists who... It appears like they want games to be so sugar-coated that there's never any violence or anything disturbing. But if you want to tell good stories, sometimes you need something that's very disturbing. You need disturbingness in a game sometimes. Because, of course, games are not for children. Video games are primarily an adult swim, if you will. And in adult swims, you can have the disturbing and the strange. And you should be able to have disturbing and the strange without fear of offending people. And if you let fear of offending people stop your video game from being strange and disturbing, then you don't have the conviction to be a game designer to begin with, in my opinion. That's all. Fine.